Good afternoon, welcome to Camnet Media News. My name is Amazing Katamanda to present it, and now the headlines. Street vendors employ government to reduce the cost of living. PF Presidential Hopeful CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI calls for the reduction of fuel subsidies.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Thank you for staying with us, and now the news in detail. Some traders in Lusaka's central business district have lamented that business has become tough owing to the number of issues, among them the increase of transport costs. The traders told Camnet TV News that now survival has become on hand to mouth. Most people are not buying from them due to the financial constraints.
The cost of living in Zambia is currently high, with many families living on hand-to-mouth as they are unable to meet their basic need and nutrition basket, which stands at above 9,300 kwacha for a family of 5 in Lusaka, as measured by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection. The impact of the high cost of living is now being felt by most vendors in Lusaka, who have told Camnet News that business has become hard as customers are nowhere to be seen.
Business ndini kamba vazona siri bwino na ikosa mpeze kati ukufumaka chero limbwa wakwanisha fe kuponya kalimba na bana balya bati fila twaleshtisha kale twale pone file mamba pa na ikosa nangu transport pakutunine tawanini na pena pani 8 kwacha ngawashoko wala enda ko kuntanshuko ko alomba ko mlodi ati impempa ko nina 5 kwacha abengi tabale kwanisha no kwanisha Aleja kama ubunga na wona udula.
Kungande milire. Awe mwandini kwa natule waya business na issue pafe sana fe mwandini. Makamaka kuma transport ifine babikire mitengo kuma basi kanshilingiri ne tulenda fe na molu. Ukumulandu wako batingana funyapo ya kuti nkwerere. Twala ali enshikungani. So ndeto telafe mulandu wako ati okay one side tuliko free tule ibombero kuchira fila chali akali.
And while the new administration is thriving at bringing sanity in the central business by trying to remove street vendors from the streets, the vendors feel doing so will affect their only sources of income, considering that their businesses are mobile. The traders have since appealed to the government to consider adding them to the list of those who will be empowered so that they can start up better businesses.
Before my vote, so it can Peter PND, Dambo understand if one's venom phone of good Timistoko, help support. Manja after pass my vote, Manana India na manje, or even one day, Pokutanda. Before Bagabo Pit, when the Potenga go meeting as my youth for fun of fun, man nowadays, so on a couple one. Or budget a minimum panga, Capemba Tiganza, Kunishiva, that's a bemush.
Tandiza Mustrit, Turechura Mustrit, Matperagundarama, Amakapto, even Parliament Yadish, we come out Tandiza. To arrive vote typhoid and Perama vote, Matuafagona for Mustrit, Murevo Turechura Garif. Songa mwaiza mwabure ndarama mapera kwa abantu mustriti bonza baleshungaika nishimwatandiza abantu nafuta kwa tabana.
With the Zambian kwacha now trading around 18 kwacha per $1 United States dollar and proposed hike in fuel price due to the war between Russia and Ukraine, many small businesses will greatly be impacted if the Zambian government does not work at lowering the cost of living. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
The government has Wednesday 30th March 2022 released a total of 805 million kwacha Constituency Development Fund CDF for the first quarter of 2022. Local Government Minister Gary Nkombo says the total funds released, each constituency will receive 5.1 million kwacha to enable them implement various developmental projects.
The Treasury has released to the ministry 805,600,000 kwacha.
The delay by the government to release the constituency development funds brought about a lot of condemnation from stakeholders, including some opposition political parties.
But the government is going to release the CDF as quickly as possible because we are almost finishing the first quarter of the year. We haven't received the CDF.
It's rightly that we must source them locally. Again, it remains as a mere pronouncement. We have not seen matching resources, to actualize that pronouncement.
After a long wait by the Zambian people for the government to release the anticipated CDF, which has been increased from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha per constituency, the government has finally released 805 million kwacha CDF for the first quarter of 2022. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo says of the total funds released, each constituency will receive 5.1 million kwacha to enable them implement various developmental projects. The minister announced this development in Lusaka Wednesday.
Today, again, the 30th of March 2022, the Treasury has released to the ministry 805,600,000 kwacha. The total that covers the following components in the Constituency Development Fund. 1, the community projects. 2, the youth and the women empowerment components of the CDF. This is for the first quarter as well, and
Mr. Nkombo also says above 99 million kwacha for the bursaries for secondary schools and skills training institutions for the first quarter of the year have also been released.
Today, we have released the balance 99,268,342.47 ngwe to cover the first quarter of this year, which is basically the term. And so we want to confirm that we have fully funded the bursaries, having held back 50% owing to uncertainty on the absorption capacity.
The minister has since implored all local authorities countrywide to be mindful of the cost of goods and services as they implement various projects. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Patriotic Front aspiring President CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI has charged that it will be unreasonable for the Energy Regulation Board (ERB) and the government to keep increasing the prices of fuel while the living standards of the people keep going down. Mr. KAMBWILI says the statements made by the presidential spokesperson Anthony Walia that the adverse changes in international oil prices will have a less than desirable effects on local fuel prices and is not a solution to addressing the high cost of living.
That is why governments are elected. And right now, we are presented with an extraordinary situation where the price of crude oil continues going up. But are we going to continue increasing the price of petrol, diesel, or fuel, as it were, while the people's earnings remain the same, while those who don't work remain unemployed? That is the test of a caring government. And I'm throwing it onto the government, this challenge, that please find money to subsidize the fuel. Otherwise, there is no reason to have a government if the people will continue until they start eating each other. Abantu balamba okuyidya muchibemba nga pali nsala abantu batila ukali omwana, and we don't want that situation to happen. Already people are suffering. We all know that the increase of fuel has been caused by Ukraine, which is an extraordinary situation. Nobody wants the fuel prices to go up, but at least we must subsidize the fuel now.
An economic analyst, Mwapem Sonda, says the shortlisting of international companies for bids to supply wooden poles used in the installation of over power lines to Zambia's power utility companies ZESCO is disappointing. In an interview, Mr. Msonda said that this is because huge sums of money will be lost through the importation of the said trees when the trees can equally be supplied from within.
Foreign companies have been chosen, and we would want to find out from ZESCO, is it that there are no local companies which can supply these wooden poles? Is that the reason why ZESCO has chosen to go and outsource these poles? And then if the answer to that question is yes, then we are equally disappointed with a company like Zafico, which is a state-owned enterprise established in 1982, which is supposed to be the major supplier of all trees in this country. We require poles and trees for various purposes in this country, for construction and even for ZESCO, supply of these overhead poles, both to ZESCO and to the mines. So if Zafico are unable to supply ZESCO, like we are hearing some rumors that Zafico is unable to supply, then we want to question what management at Zafico is doing, because as far as we are concerned, Zafico is supposed to produce enough of these poles so that they can meet the demand in this country.
This brings us to the end of our media news, but before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Street vendors employ government to reduce the cost of living. PF presidential hope for CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI calls for the reintroduction of fuel subsidies. Thank you for joining us on our Camnet Media News. My name is Amazing Katamanda. Good afternoon.